In front of you, I behold the Type 71. This is the Tier 10 Japanese heavy tank that Wargaming is currently working on implementing in the future months into World of Tanks Blitz as a whole line of vehicles. I'm a little nervous because currently this vehicle seems really strong. Like, stronger than the Concept 1B, T-22 Medium, M6O. Yeah, wait until we break into the statistics and then the armor profile. But just looking at it, it looks pretty similar to an STB-1. Frontally, it's got that same turret design, same hull design, and the side armor as well. It's really similar to an STB. You just made a hell of a lot beefier, and that's honestly what the vehicle plays like as well when it's going to come into the game, at least to what I can see from its statistics, mobility, armor profile, everything that it has going for it currently. But man, am I scared about this vehicle. When we obviously break into the statistics, I want you to know that it is not set in stone and that hopefully it will be changed when it is finally released. But we're going to start off with the hit points, which is a 2,756 hit point pool. Now obviously that is with running the hit point boost, but that's the same hit points as a 60 TP. I mean, this is a mobile heavy tank, one that's more comparable to like a WZ-111-5A, a Chieftain Mark 6, or a Concept when it comes to the mobility and hull down capabilities. So why does this tank have hit points of a super heavy? Well, the world may never know, but yeah, that is a lot of freaking hit points for this type of heavy tank. View range is 264 meters, but that's with camo net on, so it's about the same as every other heavy tank at 282.5. Camouflage, I can't really tell you right now because it's not set in stone. On Wargaming shows concealment on their own page. It's actually not correct. If you actually look at Blitzhanger, it is correct, so yeah, ignore the camouflage for now. When we take a look at damage per minute, it's got 2,938, which is a hell of a lot of DPM. And even with Kali, it's still 2,700, which would put it amongst the top 10 tanks with DPM, and those heavies are running rammer. So yeah, pretty impressive damage per minute. Its penetration at 255 is plenty, and as well, the heat at 330. There are a lot of people that like running gun rammer, and you will get away with it using this tank. A vehicle like a Concept 1B, yeah, maybe not so much, but the Concept's heat pen with Kali has 340, which is only 10 more than this tank with rammer. And if you're like me, a crazy man, and you like to run calibrated, you'll have 363 millimeters of pen, which is more than enough to butter through any hull down heavy tank. It's pretty similar to what a 60 TP has with Kali. So yeah, that is not going to be a problem at all. Damage per shot is 400, which isn't anything crazy, but it'll give you a pretty decent reload for the damage per minute. It carries at only 8.17 seconds. It's got decent aiming time at 3.7 seconds, not great, and the dispersion is 0.344, which also isn't great. It's very similar to an IS-4, I would say, on aiming time and dispersion. I'm not sure the on-movement dispersion values are currently, but that's how it seems, at least personally to me. Gun handling, it's got 9 degrees of gun depression and 15 degrees of gun elevation, which means that you will be able to work any ridgeline and if anybody's above you, which is a pretty rare thing, but occasionally, if there are people above you, you will be able to aim at them. And then we break onto the mobility. This tank goes 50 forwards. 50! It's fast, really fast. It's got the same power to weight ratio as an IS-7, which means that, yeah, this thing will be able to get up to its top speed quite comfortably. It also has a pretty decent reverse speed at 15 kilometers per hour. It weighs 70 tons. Yeah, that's heavy. This tank on paper doesn't look like it weighs that much, but yep, it is quite a heavy beast. Not to mention, it's got some really bad turret traverse speed. That's one thing I did notice at 18.22, although thankfully, its hull traverse rate is not nearly as bad as the WZ-113 at 31 degrees a second. The 113 is about 20 degrees. So it is a bit faster, but it's definitely not going to be very fast on that turret turning. So when you're sitting hull down, you got to be a little cautious on who you're aiming at or if there's tanks off to your side, because right now that will definitely hurt you. But yeah, I mean, just statistically, this tank looks very strong, and you would expect it to have quite a weak hull, very weak lower plate, and maybe some turret weak spots. That way you could actually pen it, because obviously when you look at vehicles like a Chieftain Mark 6, it has pretty similar gun statistics. Maybe not on accuracy, but definitely when it comes to damage per minute, penetration, pretty similar. And the Chieftain Mark 6 doesn't go 50, and it also doesn't have 2,700 hit points. So yeah, that's already pretty scary. But now we're going to break onto the armor profile, and this is where you better hide your children. So we're going to make our way over to armor, and we've got to go to RNG, so pen, there you go. This is a 60 TP, and I'll put on calibrated shells just for the benefit of the doubt. This is a 60 TP using calibrated and shooting AP ammunition at the frontal armor of a Type 71. Yeah, if that looks red to you, it should. This is stupid. I don't even know what to say. I mean, the upper plate is 284 millimeters base. That's base armor. So if you load on heat, it has 320. If you're running enhanced armor and you just use even 5 degrees of gun depression on this vehicle, it's red. Just 5 degrees. I mean, that is absolutely insane. And if you just slightly angle it, showcasing just that upper plate, I mean, you can run this thing on flat ground and make that upper plate pretty hard to penetrate. This is one of the highest heat pens in tier 10. Imagine an enemy medium tank. Let's say like, I don't know, a 1-2-1 with heat shells aiming at the upper plate of this vehicle. What the absolute hell is this Wargaming? How can you possibly release a mobile heavy that goes 50, that also has an upper plate that is over 320 millimeters thick? A 1-2-1 using heat and with calibrated on cannot penetrate the upper plate of a Type 71. Like, what the heck? And by the way, we haven't even used it hull down. How about I just use it with gun depression? Ah, yes. Doesn't that look fair and balanced to you, ladies and gentlemen? Now, you might think that these turret cheeks are pretty weak until you realize just how small those weak spots actually are. Yeah, you're not going to hit those. That's about the same chance of hitting an IS-4 turret cheek. It's pretty freaking hard. Upper plate goes up to 420 millimeters. The turret has no weak spot. Even the cupola is completely impenetrable unless you hit that little bar there, which, let's be honest, isn't going to happen. You could hit this hatch here, which, again, let's be honest, probably won't happen. So when this vehicle's hull down, it's going to be just like shooting at an STB-1. It's like a 50-50 if you're even going to have a chance of penetrating the vehicle. And these turret cheeks, by the way, are not weak. They're 273 thick, which means with standard ammo, you're not even going to be able to penetrate. So you have to load premium to even have a chance of penetrating this vehicle's turret cheeks. As well, side armor, you might think, well, it's quite weak. Yeah, it's not. It has this like funky spot here that actually is 300 thick, so you cannot penetrate the track wheel of this vehicle. And obviously heat shells can't pen it because heat can't cut through spaced armor that the vehicle has all over the sides. So yeah, that spot there will be impenetrable to a lot of vehicles when they're shooting at the side of this tank trying to track it. As well, the side armor is not HEable. It's over 140 thick, even though it looks pretty similar to a Mark 6. So you'd think, what about the rear armor? Can you penetrate it with high explosive? Well, no, it's 100 millimeters thick. Now, the highest HE pen for at least non-HES shooting vehicles is 99 millimeters. And I can show you that right now. If we go to a tank destroyer like the 113 GFT, it has 90 mils. And if you're running Kali, that boosted up 9 to 99. You physically cannot penetrate the rear of this vehicle with HE shells on the rear of the hull, the rear of the turret, the lower part. It is not HEable by any 150 in the game, meaning that you're basically impervious when it comes to HE shells. Yeah, I mean, what else do I need to say about the armor profile of this tank? The side armor's stupid. The turret is absolutely stupid. It's got angled underbelly hull, which means at an angle like this, you also cannot penetrate it. And then we get stuck with the lower plate. And the lower plate is 230 thick, and this is with AP shells, which means if we go back to, let's say, like, you know, a medium tank, let's say like the 50M, which has the highest heat pen and we load heat, that is 280 thick. If you're using standard ammo, you can't pen that lower plate. Like, what is this? How does Wargaming think that this isn't even remotely balanced? Like, yes, I do think that the vehicle is going to be nerfed in its current state compared to when it is released into the game. But just the fact that a tank can even look like this in its current state really scares me. Because vehicles like the M60, vehicles like the Concept 1B, and vehicles like the 6DTP came into the game basically the way they were in testing or even better. And to look at how they have turned out in the game. Even the T100 LT. And I don't know if Wargaming's even going to bother nerfing the T100. I am very scared of a vehicle like this being introduced into the game. It's too fast, it's got too much armor, and it's got too much DPM. If they even took away one of those things, I still think it would be too strong. Either the armor profile needs to get yeeted out of here, and this you know, upper plate should not be 300 thick, maybe 250 at the max, or its mobility needs to get stripped away to 40 or even 35, or if Wargaming want, I mean, just, it's dumb. I don't even know what to say. This tank just should not be like this in any world. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below, but I'm very scared. I'm very scared. Well, get your free XP ready, because I'll obviously do an update before this tank comes out on its final statistics when it gets released, so don't be worried about, like, its final state. But right now, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Please consider smashing that subscribe button down below, as I doubt you've seen this anywhere on any other channel. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Have some nightmares.